Okay, so we are going to do exercise 8.5 on page 836. All right, what does 8.5 say? It says, the ledger of McCarthy Company at the end of the current year shows accounts receivable $78,000, credit sales $810,000, and sales returns and allowances $40,000. And then there's instructions, A, B, and C. So, A, if McCarthy uses the direct write-off method to account for uncollectible accounts, journalize the adjusting entry December 31, assuming McCarthy determines that Metassi's $900 balance is uncollectible. So this is the direct write-off method. Remember, this is the unpreferred method, the method that generally you do not use. It's not the correct method to use, but we're learning how to do it. Okay, so December 31, they've estimated that they're saying this debt has gone bad. So they're going to debit bad debt expense for the amount that's going bad. And then they're going to credit accounts receivable directly for the customer that's going bad. They would actually go into Metassi's account, the customer, and they would do the entry for removing it from their account, which would link to the accounts receivable, but we're not going that granular in this class. Okay. When you say the amount for ADA at the end, at the end, that means after you balance the account, what will the balance in the ADA be? So the number they're giving you is what you want it to be once you balance it, or in the end. Okay. And usually it's done at the end of the year. Okay, so that's A. Let's look at B. B says, if allowance for doubtful accounts has a credit balance of $1,100 in the trial balance journal, journalize the adjusting entry December 31, assuming bad debts are expected to be 10% of accounts receivable. So we have to do some math here. So accounts receivable in this problem is equal to what? They told us accounts receivable was equal to $78,000, okay? $78,000. And in this problem, they're telling us that 10% of the accounts receivable are going to go bad, or they're estimating that 10% is going to go bad. So that's what they want the ADA to be. So they're going to take the accounts receivable number times 10%, right? So it's going to be $78,000 times 10%. So they want the ADA to be $7,800. Okay, that's 10% of $78,000. Okay, but they tell you in this problem that the ADA, the allowance for doubtful accounts, has a credit balance of $1,100. So the rule tells us that if it's a credit balance, right, we are going to subtract the credit balance from what we want the ADA to be. So we're going to take $7,800 minus the credit balance of $1,100, right? Yeah, $1,100. So that is going to give us our entry dollar amount of $6,700. Okay. So for B, December 31, we are going to debit bad debt expense $6,700. And we are going to credit allowance for doubtful accounts. Okay, $6,700. All right, so that's an example. Let's see, I'm going to put it over here. This is a direct write-off, the first one, right? The method we don't want to use. The next one is entry if ADA has credit balance. And you will see all these again at some point in this class, okay? And then we're gonna go to C, right? And I think I'm gonna have to move this down to make this all fit. Trying to make it all fit on one screen for you here. Okay, now we're gonna go to C. And C says, if allowance for doubtful accounts has a debit balance of $500 in the trial balance, journalize the adjusting entry at December 31, assuming bad debts are expected to be 8% of accounts receivable. So I'm going to take this information up here, paste it down here, and do some changes to it. So accounts receivable number times 8%, right? Accounts receivable times 8% is going to give us, let's see. That is going to be 6240. 6240. So $6,240 is what we want the ADA to be. Okay, $6,240. But if the ADA has a debit balance, add the debit balance amount to what you want the ADA, right? So we have 6240 is what we want it to be, right? Plus the account has a debit balance of $500 in it. So that is going to give us an entry of 6740. So 6740 is what we want our entry. Oops, not 46. 6740 is what we want our entry to be. 6740. Okay, so December 31, we're going to debit, add debt expense, $6,740. And we're going to credit allowance for doubtful accounts, $6,740. Okay, and this is the entry if ADA has a debit balance. Okay, and what I'm also going to share with you here is what the T accounts look like for each one of these, okay? All right, so let's see. Actually, I'll just show you right down here, okay? So the first one here is December 31, right? December 31 was the one where it was 9, or the first one is A. That's the one where it was just a direct write-off, right? The direct write-off one, which is what we normally don't do, but they're having us do it just to learn how to do the right way, right? Okay. The next one down is going to show you if the ADA has a credit balance, you're going to subtract it to get your entry, right? The next one down below is showing you if it has a debit balance to get your entry. And oh, I thought I had the T accounts on here, but I don't. I don't have the T accounts, but I'll show you the T accounts right like this. We're going to go debit. We're going to go credit. And then if it starts with an $1,100 credit, right? And you do an entry for $6,700 on December 31. Your entry is $6,700, right? And then you balance that account. Once you balance that account, the balance becomes $6,700, right? Oh, sorry. Not $6,700. $7,800. So that's where I'm talking about what you want the number to be. What you want the number to be in this instance is 78. If you do the T account for the ADA, you'll see that when you do the entry, you're going to get, I'm going to just put a thing here that this is the beginning balance. So your balance is $1,100. Credit, you do the entry, and then you get your $7,800 is what you wanted in the end. Okay. So the thing about this is that you can always run a T account on the side. Okay. Now, if we take that same one and we go down and we say that it had a debit balance of $500, right? Because that's the other problem, said it had a debit balance of $500. Then we would add that to what we want our entry to be. So our entry would be 6740, right? And then if we were to balance that, to balance this account, we would take the 6740 minus the 500, and that would give us the 6240, which in this problem, they wanted 8% of the 7,800, which is 6240. Okay. All right, so I'm going to stop the recording there.